14 towns of national water were also internally developed. So all these innovations that we have undertaken help us save money. So that we have used this money to undertake the investment. But otherwise, we would have not undertaken if we hadn't done the innovation.
Even by the very way you're seated, you look like somebody very comfortable with the way your organization is running. I'd encourage both of you to switch off your mics so that we don't get feedbacks. Let's get to Lady Edith here. Organizations are as good as their employees or the persons that work in them and for them. How do you make sure that you keep people who work here, or we who work here, productive and motivated and staying focused on the job, especially when you're going through a very difficult period like we've just gone through?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, the board members, our colleagues, and all the viewers. That statement is true, that organizations are only as effective as the people who work in the organization. And that mostly focuses on leadership of the organization, employee productivity, teamwork, and being results-oriented. I give credit to our board, who are vision bearers, for always giving us the direction where to go. Like you've been going through all these presentations, they've told you we have a 5-year strategic direction, we have a corporate plan, and all those are very clear. We know that we want to be the leading water utility in the world. So it's easy for us to set our goals and targets to achieve those what we want to be. I also give credit to our managing director, who is the team leader of management, because he is a board member. However, having worked with the board, when it comes to management, he gives us the direction as to how we shall achieve those targets. And once we get how we shall achieve the targets, and we make our individual performance targets, we all work motivated. The individual performance targets, the group targets, the team targets at area level all have incentives embedded. And there are also penalties if you don't achieve. So everybody works towards achieving a prize. Achieving a prize in terms of performance, that when we perform well, we shall achieve the overall objective of supplying water and providing sewage services to this country. That is a very motivating factor for all of us. That's what we work towards. But at the same time, individually, as we work, you know that if I achieve this, I also have an individual benefit.
Okay.
So we always keep an eye on the prize, and it keeps us working very hard, and our staff are always motivated to achieve targets. They make their own targets. We have a culture where we don't tell people what to do. By 7:30, 7 a.m., they're already in office.
Okay.
And they are already setting their work plans and working towards achieving their targets.
Now, I'm trying to get my head around the fact that somebody began work here when I was in P5 in Nakasero Primary School, and they're still here. Now, within that time, I finished primary, went to secondary, finished it, did God knows how many universities, and resigned 5 jobs. They're still here.
We are still here.
How do you keep an organization in which you have somebody 35 years, 31 years, 29, and everybody just does not want to leave this place? How do you create that sort of environment?
That sort of environment is created by our culture of teamwork, our culture of looking out for each other. Most of us came here when we were young, but because we found a culture of working as a team and belonging to a family that always looks out for people's growth. People come in as student trainees even, and they don't want to go away, and they continue being here for the 35 years or so.
Okay.
As I've told you, we have the incentives for performance. We always look out for people when we develop our staff. We make them grow. We make them feel part of the family. We coach them, mentor them, and always encourage them to always progress in life. We encourage them to marry. We always participate in their weddings. We collect money and we give them. We are like a family. So everybody feels they are part of National Water. And of course, with such a prestigious organization that performs very well and is the leading water utility in the world, no one wants to leave.
Well, until you said when we come here, when we came here, we were young. I was still convinced you're a young person. Very
I was
interesting.
younger than this.
Absolutely.
29 years ago.
That's quite something. I think if you want to marry, you want to come to an organization where people stay. They say when you practice something, you improve it. People who keep dropping things cannot keep marriages. So I was told. Let me get to Engineer Gisagara. Of course, Kampala is growing by leaps and bounds, and you can tell from the price of land, wherever roads are going. And as people grow, they expect to use your services, because it's still one of the indicators that somebody has arrived, that they have piped water in their house. How are you going to make sure that everybody gets a service?
Thank you, moderator, our dear chairman, board members, MD, and all colleagues. Kampala definitely has a big population, and we refer to it as Greater Kampala Metropolitan. Know the boundaries of Banda and the Kawempe Police, and that's still a stage in Nakumbi. So we have key infrastructure projects, which Engineer Johnson touched about, treatment plant, and of course the transmission mains and reservoirs. We are adding on 160 million liters per day come end of March, or the first week or second week of April. It will be actually our Easter holiday.
Some of the solutions that you have crafted to overcome those challenges, albeit briefly.
Of recent, we have been having a threat of climate change impact on our infrastructure. If we had the news and we follow up the landslides, flooding from western parts of Uganda to eastern, and currently now the Lake Choga Basin and River Nile catchment up to Pakwach. The intake points are flooded. We have to change technology to submersible pumps, the pumps which drop in the lake and obstruct without a house, without any business, the modern tech. And for the landslides in the Rwenzori, western Rwenzori region of Mpondwe, Kasese, and the Katwe, definitely we have also put in infrastructure that is climate change resilient, and we are going in to invest more. But however, also we have source pollution, the Lake Victoria, Inner Maxon Bay, up to Entebbe. It's a highly polluted area. We are trying to do water treatment optimization. Dr. Rose Kagawa will expound on that to make sure that Kampala people are very safe. There is a big challenge of physical planning. Now that you have the city of Kampala plus other 10 cities, it affects development of infrastructure and operation and maintenance of pipe network and the collection of sewerage from the premises. So we look at this problem compounding the service delivery through issues to do with vandalism, issues to do with upgrading and repairing of roads. People cut our pipes. So it's a very big challenge. And of course, energy issues. If you go to the greater parts of Uganda, where you don't hear about Umeme, you hear about UDCL. Even that name UDCL, people don't know about it. It is a baby of UEB. So we are on generators, a hybrid of power, grid power and diesel. So the tariff they talked about, which is 3,200, and the money you are spending on cubic meter of 4,000, we make a complete subsidy from the center, a drain from Kampala. And of course, also technology challenges. We are talking about adulterated spare parts. The market has flooded spare parts for pumps, machinery. When you put on a pump, the pump breaks down. So we put in a technology, equipment and software from manufacturers to detect the Nakasero products, so that we isolate them from the international products and we secure our assets through that protection. And of course, we also look at the green energy, a hybrid of solar with the grid and diesel, so that we optimize our pumping costs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer. Switch off your mic for us. Thank you. Dr. Rose, we talk of water for consumption, but it is as good as its safety. Can you assure us that our water is safe and that you are always up at night to make sure that it is safe?
Thank you very much, Samson. All protocol observed, and to our viewers who are listening and watching. Of course, Samson, I start by saying I'm also an OG of Nakasero Primary, so I can see that we are still doing exploits.
It's good people.
When it comes to water, of course, many people have the impression that it's so easy to produce water and you can drink it. But we add the word safety. So safety means that the water is bacteriologically safe. It has no bacteria and you can drink it. What we do is we have adopted the water safety planning risk-based monitoring, which means that we look at our water right from the source all the way through to the point of discharge and back into the environment and back for treatment. We in National Water have a fully fledged water quality management department with over 70 labs across the country. We have staff who are trained to the highest level, and we pick samples, as I said, monitoring the sources, so the intakes regularly, and we do this as National Water, but also in collaboration with the ministry and international bodies. We take samples from every point of treatment, and with that it means we have over 3,000 sampling points across the country and over 10,000 samples picked a day minimum across the country. We check and ensure that the water is safe. You can look at it, it looks clean, you can taste it, you can drink it, it is safe. We match our labs against international labs by doing proficiency testing. We also do joint monitoring with the Ministry of Water through the Directorate of Water Resources Management, KCCA, WHO, and UNBS. So we continuously check what we are doing. The purpose is to ensure that at every one point, once you have what we call final water that is coming into the system, it can be drunk. We establish critical control points that look at the risk, and these are around our networks, to ensure that at every draw-off point you are able to check this water. We come to people's homes, we go to the hospitals, we go to the schools, and we have our mobile labs. We also have a rapid response teams that pick up any complaints on water quality in liaison with the teams that are working in the network. So that is how we ensure. And the international bodies, for example, when we had the typhoid outbreak, CDC, they were here, they were able to check and ascertain that the methods we use are up to date. Thank you.
Of course, the environment is very important and critical to water supply. What are some of the challenges you face and how have you overcome them briefly?
The challenges, the environment, of course, when you look across the environment, on Women's Day, we were in a school planting trees in two of the schools around Kampala. And I sat in one and looked at the school and I could see a lot of green and trees. And this was really good, fresh air. As you all know, and Engineer Alex has already mentioned them, we have the issue of the degradation of wetlands. And in Kampala, it's very apparent how we've degraded the wetlands. As a result, we have floods and we have fish kills. We get algae. When you fly over, as you approach Entebbe, you can see the green water. We are getting the landslides. We are getting places with drought. And of course, all these we attribute to high costs for chemicals. So when we look at our treatment, Jude in his presentation mentioned that some areas the cost of production is up to 8,000 shillings per cubic meter. The component for chemicals is I take GABA. I started work there a long time ago, in 92. We were at less than 100 shillings of production per cubic meter for chemicals. Right now, they stand at about 400 to 500 shillings. And some of our plants, the cost is as high as 1,500 cubic meters for chemicals alone. And so we need to ensure and establish ways of mitigating these challenges. And there's a lot that we are doing, working with international bodies and also beginning to monitor and manage our sources more effectively.
Well, thank you very much. If somebody in charge of your water quality looks like how you look like since 1992, then I want to drink that water. It means, I mean, you manage quality of yourself, then you certainly will do a good job managing the water that we drink. I mean, if somebody managing quality doesn't know how deodorant looks like and they're managing quality of your water, you wonder whether you want to drink it. You've got to look like things you do, isn't it? Let's get to government here. Is it Hajj or Swahaba? The RCC, if we may, government certainly given mandates to provide services to the people. Do you want to talk to us about government service delivery here in Kampala, at least your understanding of it?
Okay, thank you, Samson, and I want to thank Ugandans and congratulate them for trusting this government once again, voting government back into power, voting President Museveni. It's a vote of confidence of the services provided to the country. The concept of government is such that a contract is made between the people and the government in exchange for services. So government must offer services. Kampala, with a population of about 3 million people, definitely government must ensure that the rate of service delivery is equal to the rate of population growth. So we are playing our part as government to ensure that corporations like National Water have the right personnel to offer the services. For us as government, what we are supposed to do is to supervise and monitor. But the quality, the capacity of a corporation like National Water and Sewage Corporation depends on how much it has been given to provide the services. And my intervention as the RCC is to ensure that the money allocated is doing the work it's supposed to do. And I want to say that so far, so good, and it's the very reason why government has again been voted. And people are fairly receiving the services. A few challenges thereby, but manageable challenges, and I'm sure the leadership will manage.
Okay, thank you. And if I could stay with you, what are your expectations of National Water and Sewage Corporation, and what are you doing using your office, because literally you're the president here, in making sure that you assist them in doing exactly that?
On the issue of expectations, I think National Water and Sewage Corporation is supposed to connect more with the customers, to ensure that it connects with the people more, to respond to the complaints of the people. There are normally a few issues in regard to connection and disconnection, responding on time, and I think once that is worked on, we shall be good to go. In Kampala generally, I think National Water needs to connect well with KCCA to ensure that they work on the issues of drainage and the sewage network within the city. It's very important that work is done most on that on that area. Otherwise, when we have rains, a few things happen that we believe that with more effort they can be worked upon.
So what I sort of hear you saying, and I want to be sure that what I hear is right, that in your conversation with the president, you normally tell him that of organizations giving you problems, National Water and Sewage Corporation is not on the list. Is that what I heard you trying to say?
Some sort. Well, I think National Water is doing very well, and it would be a lie if I said they don't have challenges. Telling the president that, it implies that even the president is giving them enough resources. Okay. I highly doubt, unless they are to tell us that they have enough resources, or the resource envelope they are receiving is adequate enough to connect the entire country. So if I tell the president that, I'll be, by implication, informing him that you don't need to give them extra money. Okay. Maintain the budget you give them, don't improve it.
Okay, thank you very much. I We'll come back to Engineer Mayo here. In your conclusion, just before we get to open the floor, you hinted on expansion of storage services. Can you, in about 45 seconds, expound on that, if you may, and your conclusion?
Yeah, maybe I need to put it in a context. Safe sanitation is not equal to piped sewage. We have other alternative sanitation options which are appropriate. And in regards to expansion, in Kampala what we are looking at is making sure that the CBDO is 100% covered. So we are looking at the center and the high waste generators to be 100% covered. But we are also developing other technologies which allows waste coming from the on-site sanitation systems like the septic tanks. So we have constructed a fecal sludge treatment plant in Lubiji, for example. We are very soon signing a contract to do another one in Nalukolongo. We have done others in other upcountry towns, and looking forward, we will be looking at having more visibility on the wastewater side, because we have had the criticism that our focus is more on water. So we'll be seeing more interventions in sewage, piped sewerage in the other towns, and we want to do it in a cost-efficient way, because sewerage infrastructure is very expensive. So whatever we'll be doing, we'll be responding to what we think makes economic sense, and we'll be doing that in the other towns.
Thank you very much. Lady Edith, if I could come back to you. Maybe I will, but let me first raise this. Probably, I think Lady Sylvia here will be the best with dealing with it. I know somebody who got very excited when the president said that, asked you not to disconnect persons during COVID. But I also know that this same person is the fastest to go on Twitter when there is issues with water. So on the one hand, they are celebrating being excused from paying. On the other, they want service. I don't know how all that works. How are you able to manage keeping us with water vis-a-vis COVID-19 directive? How are you collecting revenue? Is the challenge even bigger? Or have some come back and said, we need to support our organization, people like myself?
Thank you, Moderator. Indeed, it is true. Since the outbreak of COVID pandemic, we have had issues with the customers wanting to hide behind the president's guidance of being patient, asking us to be patient with our customers and bear with them so they are able to recover from the pandemic impact and pay slowly as and when they are able to. At National Water, we have approached this challenge mainly through customer engagement and sensitization. That has been our challenge. We have increased our outreach to the customers through door-to-door visits, through telephone calls, sending them messages on their phones, talking them through radio stations and so forth. And our message has been simple. Water costs money to produce and distribute. Somebody must pay for it. As we have heard, we need chemicals to treat this water. It has to be pumped. We have to maintain the system, the water treatment plants, and the network. All that costs money. So any rational human being, once, given that message, should be able to understand that they need to pay for these services so that we can continuously deliver these services. Without paying for these services, then we are incapacitated. We cannot deliver the service that is vital for everyone's survival.
Thank you very much. Switch off your microphone for us. Finally, your concluding remarks, besides asking that people marry here. let your concluding remarks, Madam.
On
Sorry?
concluding remarks.
Your concluding remarks for the day, yes.
Thank you, Samson, and thank you all the people who are watching us and listening to us on various media stations. We would like to thank everybody who has come, and would like to say that we really enjoy engaging our customers and our stakeholders, because that's what we are currently doing, because this is vital to give accountability for what we do and what we have, the results that we get. This is a very good forum, so that we don't have to go to every office, or we don't have to write to everybody, because to the government, they are seeing what we're doing. We are giving our accountability for the reason we're there. To our dear customers, this is a very good time for us to account to you that we treasure you. We appreciate that you are the reason that we exist. You're always there to pay for water. Most of you are, though we have a few that Madame Sylvia was talking about, and we have a few who are even engaged in illegal water consumption. I do appeal greatly to those who are illegally connected to our services to come, and we talk, and we have a program now which is Come and We Talk. If you come deliberately and you tell us that you have a problem, you maybe because of some problems you connected to our services without our permission, we shall be able to see how we go through that without maybe giving you the heavy penalty that we're supposed to have given you. And we commit that we shall continue serving our customers in the best way possible, and we shall always listen to their challenges, and we request all the stakeholders to also understand our challenges and help us to mitigate these challenges that we get. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to be part of any network of persons going up and about looking for illegal connections in places like Ntinda, Chiwature, Kororo, Bugorobi. Then I tweet about those things. So that, if you have that sort of operation, please call me. Those are things I enjoy. Engineer Gisagara, water for all. You know that for us, where we are, once you have water connected, the value of land goes up. Then you call your mother and you tell her, Mommy, I have made it in life. Can you assure us that more people this year will make it in life?
Thank you, moderator. Like the theme of today is accelerating performance. As the country is accelerating in terms of economic growth, population, all numbers. So we coined the SCAP 100 program, Access to All, and we did a lot of work. We have done water supply stabilization in many towns, Fort Portal, Kisoro, and others, and we are still going on more. We have done many extensions, 6,800 kilometers. We have done new connections greater than 11,000. Then also targeting to have 20,000 villages in Uganda, each with 2 taps. And so far we are about 6,000 villages, and we have connected. And people are still waiting, but we are accelerating. That's why today we are here to have impact. And in the next financial year, we should be getting more funds, either from government, national water, it's cost sharing between the government of Uganda and national water revenues to impact on the population of Uganda, not only the cities and municipalities. We are going to reach even to a village level, and Ugandans should have safe, clean water so they can support a healthy population.
I can tell you one thing that I know, that when a man speaks with passion, you can tell that he believes in what he is doing. So if you're out there and you do not have water, Engineer Gisagara speaks with passion that water that is piped is coming your way, especially if you are the type that wants to be paying for it. Because that's the case, it means that there is going to have to be a lot of innovation. Walk us into some of the innovation projects that are going on. And the other day we saw some exhibitions. What's under the wraps?
Thank you very much, Samson. As a way of progressing and improving, the NWSC has prided itself in doing research and innovation over the years. And that is at different levels. So of course we encourage research at the higher levels, and we have a lot of our staff doing masters and PhDs. But we also encourage, and the board and management have given us the open space to encourage innovation even at the lower levels. And we do this through action research, but also impact. I'll call it impact research. So our staff are able to use their brains, their talent, and do things to change and improve service delivery and also reduce our costs. So I'll give you some of the examples, and some are a bit abstract. We've innovated as an organization to have a consultancy unit, which many organizations, public ones, do not have. So where you're seated right now is a fruit of that effort. We also innovate to improve our quality and services. So we have our staff inventing things, and as you saw just the other week, the disinfection process, we have our own staff making on-site electrolyzers which use salt instead of us importing chlorine, and we are able to bring the costs down. We have, and we would love to have a rollout of prepaid meters. They're expensive. We have a team of engineers and who have come up with the software and the prepaid meter, and we are hoping to roll that down at a much reduced cost. We innovate with basic things like how do you go out and take a sample of water and check the chlorine. We do not have to always buy expensive gadgets. We formed our own detecting machine, very simple, a color-coded scheme. The staff innovate through software application, and as Madame Sylvia already pointed out, most of our applications are in-house. We do this with our staff, but we also partner with sister organizations and also universities and research institutions to keep on innovating. We are encouraging them not to sleep. I'll give the last example. We have in our treatment filters where we use tons and tons of sand. And in the past, we used to haggle trying to get all this sand from Entebbe, and it would not be the right quality, the wrong grade. We've now established our own sand sieving system in Igaba, which is managed, and we are able to get sand to use internally and also some which can be sold. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Talking about government, in your final comments, I'd like you also to appeal to some naughty persons in government who don't want to pay, saying that they fought. I'm not so sure they fought not to pay for water. And your concluding remarks.
Well, they fought to ensure that the country is liberated, and the services are now being offered to the people to ensure that we liberate more our people. But if I may conclude, water is a necessity, and it's the main reason why government 100% owns National Water and Sewage Corporation. There may be a few challenges of maybe delays in responding to the population, responding to connecting people on time and other few issues. But that does not rule out the fact that as government we must congratulate ourselves that good work is being done, and at least this is among the very, very few government entities that are non-profit. It's purely for service delivery. So we want to challenge National Water and Sewage Corporation to continue doing the good work and even do more, because of course it would be a lie for me to say there are no complaints. There are a few complaints, but I believe with the leadership they can be handled. So we congratulate ourselves as a government that this is not a for-profit organization. It's doing pure service delivery to the people. And we expect a lot from the leadership of National Water and Sewage Corporation. As the RCC, I'll team up with them to ensure that we work and even do better.
And of course, we've known government, at least the one you're serving in, to believe that you don't change winning teams. Is that the case? Did I hear you want to add that?
I reserve my comments.
A little stingy there, but you understand what I'm saying. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to open for a few questions, short and brief ones. We can have them online or some comments. I'll give 45 seconds to yourself. I hope there is a mic moving around. Give the gentleman a mic. In my recollection, I think he's one of the RCCs. Regional Chair, Division Chair. Abo bantu bakulu nnyo.
I'm Chiaga John Baptist from Machinde Municipality. I'm the Division Mayor for Masaja. Now, I have 3 issues I want to raise to you, to the directors. First one to Engineer Amayo. I want to know, on behalf of my people, Machinde Municipality, why are you getting water from Katosi, which is a long distance, which looks to be very expensive, and we have water bodies around Kampala. We would like to know why. Now, the other question to Madam Edis, Director of Finance. You talked about when you are, the project now you're funding. 2 years back, when we are launching Namasuba water reservoirs, you talked about that project was the Katosi project that was funded by German government. But today, it was like saying that you are funding it, and we want to know if it is not you funding it, ICC funding it, or ICC, they are our partners or other governments outside. Then I have another issue, which is lastly, National Water to Engineer Amayo and Mr. Mugisha. Now, I want you, and I'm requesting you, to improve on your working relationship with local government. During when you're maintaining your water pipes, when you destroy our roads, you don't come back to maintain them. And even us, when we are maintaining our roads or constructing our roads, when we cut your pipes, we don't come back to see how people are getting water back. So for all of us, the relation between you and us, it's not good. When you come and do your things and go. When we come also, we do our roads and we go. Leaving people when suffering in getting water. So those are my issues. Thank you. Chiaga John Baptist.
Mr. Chiaga, just before you see it, still with the mic. When you're planning to do roads, I imagine there is a planning process.
Yes, please.
Is it possible to call National Water at that point to be involved so that you also can work together in putting spaces where they can take their pipes, or is that not possible?
Madam, Mr. Kasumba, I for one, I wrote several letters to Mr. Amayo, and some of the engineers, I've seen them there behind there. They came when they are constructing working with the surveyor, Nagoya, in Namasuba, that side. They distracted our roads. But when we called them to come and see how we can maintain those roads, they never came. Even they promised us.
You've missed the question.
Calabar, they never bring
the question I asked is...
We always do, but they have response.
At the planning stage, when you are planning the road, do you call them at planning stage?
That's what I'm saying now. If they are, we inform them, but they don't bother. Sometimes some of their regional managers, they don't bother to come and see that we work together when we are maintaining our roads, and when also they are maintaining their pipes when transmitting water. We can improve on that relationship as local government leaders and local government and National Water.
Thank you. The good thing here is we don't solve a problem twice. That problem will be solved.
Thank you.
Let's get to the next person. There's a gentleman here who has his hand up.
Thank you, Sam. Sam, I have no doubt that with the motivated and skilled, first of all, my name is Frank Semkuye, Speaker, Chira Municipality. I'm representing myself and the Mayor of Chira Municipality, who is not here with us. Sam, I have no doubt that with the skilled and motivated staff of National Water Storage Corporation, they will be able to accelerate the performance. Because we have been engaged with National Water Storage Corporation since we joined the local government in 2016. We've been able to visit all the projects that intend to accelerate the performance. With that one, I'm quite sure that they will be able to accelerate the performance. And it's one of the organizations, one of the bodies of the government that are a little doing well. And we should clap for them. Now, I heard of the amnesty. I thought they were going to talk about it over some media. You are giving an amnesty to your clients. I wanted to hear the evaluation about that. To me, it was so good.
I think it's what you call calmless talk. Yes.
Okay. I'm also in the government, but the Hajj is more pressed since he's representing the president himself. For fear of being misunderstood by
the board chair,
who had a lot of relationship with the electoral commission, I may
you
not
have to go there.
I may not congratulate the current government, as he was saying, especially with the performance here in Kampala and the greater Kampala. Why? And you may bear me witness.
Briefly, yes.
Yes, lastly. Perhaps one of the reasons why you did not perform well, especially in Kampala and the greater area.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, it's because of other services, other service providers of the government, which are not doing so well, like a National Water and Sewage Corporation. If we are not in National Water and Sewage Corporation, Baraza, I would mention those other service providers.
Yes. In the voice of Fresh Kid.
Yes. Actually, let me even end here.
Any other person just before I bring? I think the presentations have been very good. Those are the two, so respond to those and then we continue with the program. It's a very enjoyable program, this. Engineer Mayo.
Yes.
I heard that they write to you.
Yes.
And then write and then they start to pray.
Yes. Yeah, I will start with the first question the mayor raised regarding why are you going to Katosi, which is very far. The question is far from where? Because so as you look at the greater Kampala is growing further east and also growing further southeast. So we are actually having a bigger challenge in transporting water from Mugaba to the eastern and further north. So the reason why, partly, we think that we should be moving away from Mugaba. First of all, as they told you, is that this belt is getting very highly polluted because of activities which are taking place in the catchment. And if you go Katosi, where we're getting the water is from a forest reserve, a forest belt, and the water quality is still very good. And the population is growing that side. The biggest part of Kampala, which is going to be benefiting from Katosi, is going to be the eastern part of Kampala and the northern part. So those areas are nearer to Katosi if you're looking at the greater whatever. So that's the reason, and one of the reasons I told you is the challenge of pollution. So Kampala will remain to serve the city center and parts of the southwestern parts of Kampala. And as Engineer Lex told you, we're also planning to do another water treatment plant between Entebbe and Kampala, which is going to target delivering water up to Mpigi. We are going to be taking water to Bujuko on Mpiana Road, and I don't think those places are near to Gava. So the question is near to where? And also we don't have to put our eggs in one basket. So that's one of the reasons. Now on the issue of the road, I'm aware about a project we did 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, the Namasuba project. It was a very complex project, no access. We had to pay off a number of houses, they have to be broken, and we did that project. And through that project, the people of southwestern part of Kampala are benefiting. But coming to the issue of road cutting, I want to say that it's more of a planning question, because with proper physical planning, road infrastructure should be installed with what we call common user utility duct. And that is something that planners has to do, so that utilities like water, telephone should be able to cross. And we have done it in a number of towns where we, in Arua, in Busheni, where we did, for example, in Arua, we went in at a time where the road infrastructure was on and the water project was on. UNRWA managed to put ducts in all the roads. So it's more of a planning question. And you need the two services. You need the roads. However, government of Uganda recognizes this as a problem. And in the new NDP3, the National Planning Development 3, we are going to have what we call program-based approach, as opposed to sector-based approach in a project implementation. So we are going to be working as a team under the new approach. And I think with this, many of these issues will be addressed. Yeah.
Lady Tumuhaire, who is funding the project, and also on the amnesty, very briefly.
Thank you, Chair, for the question. On the funding arrangement, I already indicated that we have two funding arrangements, where the small and medium investments, we fund them using our internally generated funds, and the big ones, I gave an example of Katosi. We fund those kinds of programs through government of Uganda does the funding, and they do that in partnership with the development partners. When we talk of development partners, we mean donors, World Bank, and those other kinds of development partners. So the development partners do not come direct to us. They have to come to us through the government of Uganda with the shareholder. So when we talk of a development partner, we are indicating that the development partner is working with the government of Uganda. And on the program of customer reconnect that we are running, my colleague Idis already talked about it. We have an amnesty program which started with the 1st of April 2021 and it's running for 6 months. And we're appealing to all our customers who have been out of our service, have not been on our service. They were at our service at one point and now they are no longer with us for whatever reason. Some of them were disconnected because of non-payment. Some of them, the services could not reach them. Others request for disconnection for some of the personal reasons. We are requesting them to come back to us and enjoy our services. If you have accumulated areas, we already talk, and we have an arrangement where we allow you to pay in installments over a period, but enjoy our services. We sign an agreement with you where we allow you to pay your areas in installments and we give you services back. And we are ready to give you some of the inputs that you require to hook back on our grid. Things like a meter, if your meter is no longer at a site, or pipes have been, vandalized in one way or another, we are ready to support you as an institution and, make sure that you have our services back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Give the panel a very, very big hand clap, bringing us very much to the end. I laughed a bunch when you asked far from where. In one of my other ways of making an income, I took somebody who was born in Kanungu to buy land in Gayaza. When we got to Gayaza, the person said, "This is far." I said, "You come from Kanungu, Gayaza is far." And those of us who were born in Bugema, in Buziga, have bought land in Chiwenda. I said, well, far is very relative, isn't it? But I think the question has been very well dealt with. People in Chira, Namgongo, Bulindo, and all those new money places understand why it should be Katosi and certainly not Gaba. So you can certainly take your seats, your original seats, as we shift gears here. Of course, there are a few questions online, and I'm sure that the organization is going to deal with those. Let's please make some inquiries about sewage plan. I think that was answered. Public taps, local government engagement. This is Honorable Betty Narima, Wachiso District Vice Chairperson, woman member of Parliament elect. Lady Narima, those questions I think have been answered and will continue to be answered. Right about now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite Dr. Silva Msha, who is the managing director of this great organization, to come and make his remarks. And when he's done, he will invite the chair of the board. Since I have no PhD, let the PhD people deal with the PhD things.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kasumba, for the nice moderation. The chairman of the board of National Water and Sewage Corporation, the board members, our beloved RCC, you're welcome to Kampala, our beloved mayors, the deputy RCCs, the senior management of National Water, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, our beloved Operation Wealth Creation officers. Mr. Chairman, you will agree with me that management has done a great job. First of all, giving the context of what we are doing today, and also deliberating with the public what National Water is doing to improve services. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, what we are doing is really in furtherance of the corporate strategy of National Water. National Water, as one of the big segments of the corporate strategy of National Water, is to reach those Ugandans that have not been reached with our services within our area of jurisdiction. So you will see that whatever we do is really to make sure that we reach those Ugandans that have not been served. But concurrently, as we do that, we also try to be as efficient as possible. Therefore, what we're having today, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call performance management. We have analyzed what has been happening in the last 6 years, and we noted that COVID had an effect on our performance trends. And as we come towards the close of the current corporate plan, as we come towards the end of this financial year, we wanted to finish it in a much better way so that we can start the new corporate plan on a much better footing. So what we have done now is, as a result of a discussion we had with the various areas of National Water, to come up with ways of stepping up performance so that we can be much, much better. And therefore what we have done is all about looking at where we've been and where we are, where we want to be, and then how would we go there. And I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, that is well discussed and that is well articulated in the various performance improvement programs of the areas. And what we are going to launch today also outlines the way we shall monitor and ensure progress towards achieving what we have set. Specifically, Mr. Chairman, there are two main areas of this impact program. One is to accelerate a holistic financial sustainability. That's why we are talking about the break-even status of areas. And the measure we use to do that is working ratio. The ratio of operating expenditure over operating income. Any area that gets over 100% means that it is spending much more than what it is generating in terms of income. And that's not good if you want to maintain financial sustainability of an institution. Fortunately, in national water, we have a cross-subsidy system where the areas which are making a bit of surplus are helping those areas which are making a loss. I know that the RCC was celebrating that national water is a non-for-profit institution. But I want to alert him that it is also not for a loss. We don't work for a loss. We work for the law endeavors us to be commercially and financially viable institution, meaning that we are not expected to overburden the consolidated fund in terms of the money we need to meet our current expenditure. But he's also right that we are not for profit, but I can assure you we are for surplus. And this surplus, we don't want to pay it in terms of dividends, because who would we be paying anyway? Because the sole shareholder of national water is government. So when we make a surplus, the board is always prudent enough to reinvest it in assets for the corporation, especially those assets that are meant to make sure that those Ugandans who have not got water get it. Those assets that are supposed to make sure that those Ugandans where water production has gone down, we can enhance those systems to make sure that there is reliable water. The other key area that we are looking at here is operating efficiency measured by non-revenue water. And everything we do here is to make sure that we improve our operating efficiency so that we can leverage resources to be able to do more productive capital investment activities. Mr. Chairman, when listeners are looking at us here in a forum like this, they expect us to be relevant to some of the issues that might be affecting them. And I'm going to try to make a run through of some of the specific issues, especially on the issue of water supply reliability. Kampala is one of those areas, and I think Engineer Mayo talked about it. Kampala, Mr. Chairman, has a demand, Greater Kampala. When we talk of Greater Kampala, we mean Kampala City, Mukono, and Wakiso, has a demand now of about 300 million liters of water per day, but our production capacity now is about 240 million liters of water per day, meaning that we have a deficit in terms of a supply of 60 million liters of water per day. But when Katosi comes on board, which as Engineer Mayo said is about to come on board, so there was a challenge which we have overcome, we expect that in the next 1 to 2 months we should be able to have water from Katosi. It will add 160 million liters of water per day, and that will make it 400 million liters of water per day, much more than the current demand. But we know that Ugandans are producing this 400 compared to 300 million liters of water per day is not something we should celebrate. The good thing, we are ready. We are already planning the Wakiso Water Improvement Project, which is in advanced stages. Very soon it will go into the construction phase, and that will add 65 million liters of water per day. And that will be on top of what can still be done at Katosi, because the intake at Katosi is 240 million liters of water per day, but we are just going to use 160, meaning that we can easily enhance the capacity there to 240 million liters of water per day. Meaning that even after completing and commissioning what we are doing at Katosi, within the next 8 to 10 years, we can easily increase our production by about 145 million liters of water per day. So what I want to assure the public is that we are good to go as far as meeting their water supply challenges are concerned. Rira is another area where we have had water challenges. We have just finished an intervention that has added more water there, about 300 cubic meters of water per hour. That is quite a good amount of water, but it's not enough. We are soon going to get pumps, and when we get pumps, the issue of water for Lira will be solved. But given that Lira is a city, we are also planning a bigger project which will serve the city. Riantonde is another area. Riantonde water was originally enough from Lake Kachera. But as you know, Mr. Chairman, Riantonde water supplies Roshere. It also supplies this other factory at Kageti. Now, the water demand is much more than supply there, but we are going to install another plant on the other side of Lake Kachera and increase water production so that the new industrial park, which is coming up at Inshara, can also have water. The Mbarara is another area where water becomes a problem, especially during the dry season. But we are in advanced stages of getting water from River Kagera, and that will, as we come along serving the people of Isinjiro, we shall also increase water production for Mbarara. Masaka is another area. Masaka, we are going to put a treatment plant at Lake Victoria, but that is a 3 to 4 year plan. In the meantime, we are procuring pumps to increase water production from Nabajuzi swamp. Chisoro is another area. We have recently installed a new treatment plant at Inkanka, but we have power supply challenges. Energy is a problem. The power for Chisoro currently comes from the Rwandan side, but there are plans. The local leadership there is working with the government to see how we can increase power from the Ugandan side, and that will make power reliable there, and then we should be able to improve water reliability there. Fort Potro, we have almost finished the expansion works at Kabundire, water works, and that will also increase water production for Fort Potro. Hoima, we are concluding a tendering process where we are also going to enhance water production there. Mbare, there is a huge project funded by government and the World Bank, and when that one is done, even as Mbare becomes the city, that will make sure that we have water production stable there. Tororo, there are complaints from Nagongera. We are going to increase water production from Rilima Phase 3, which the ministry is doing. Once they finish it, we should be able to have enough water for Tororo. Zimbabwe, I think Engineer Mario talked about it. We are almost completing a project there, and that will make water for the entire Zimbabwe district enough. Paida, I got calls from the new elected leadership of Paida. We had an issue with one of our pumps, a very, very important key pump, which was producing about 40 cubic meters of water per hour. It got a problem, but we are going to airlift the pump in, and that problem will be solved. Entebbe is another area. Sometimes industrialization causes a problem. A good problem though. We had a Coca-Cola, rather a Pepsi Cola factory, a new Pepsi Cola factory there, which has increased the demand so much. But we are now systematically installing new pumps there. We have also constructed a new dedicated pipeline for the Pepsi Cola plant, so that the people of Akrite and those other places of Chitende and Kajansi who had been deprived of water because we have to supply that Pepsi Cola plant will get enough water. So there are many more interventions National Water is doing in, of course, working with the ministry. For example, Rukunjiri, the water treatment plant at Kahenje will be completed soon. We are working very closely with the ministry so that the people of Rukunjiri can enjoy stable supply. Mr. Chairman, we also saw in the presentation the issue of the tariff versus the unit operating costs. It's a little bit, it portrays an image or a status that our tariff is now not enough to cover our unit operating costs. And that is true. And for customers who are listening to us, we are trying to be efficient, but I think it needs to be known that the tariff we charge is not a cost recovery tariff. So we do a lot of cross-subsidization to keep within financial viability levels. Mr. Chairman, lastly, I want to inform the public that National Water is not only here, but it is also represented on the various bodies on the international arena. And I want to take this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, to congratulate Dr. Rose Kagwa, who was here, who Mr. Kasumba described very well, how she looks like water quality. Dr. Rose, the way you look at her is the way other people have looked at her, and she has been nominated to be on the board of the International Water Association. That's a very, very big body. I served there for 4 years, and I know that there's a lot you learn when you serve on that board. We also serve on the African Water Association board. I'm the president there. Dr. Rose is also a member of the board. So, and yesterday I got a letter from the African Water Association that this very place where we are is also going to act as the African Water and Sanitation Academy. So they have asked us to nominate, to designate an interim coordinator, again from National Water. So that is the vote of confidence other people have in the institution called National Water and Sewage Corporation. And that we are going to do in liaison with the board so that we can not only operate in Uganda, but we operate on the African scene and also on the international scene. The RCC talked a lot about delays. Yes, we know that sometimes we get delays, but I can assure you, one of the things we don't tolerate here is laziness of staff. So anything to do with laziness, we don't entertain it, and I can assure you, by and large, our staff are really responsive. I want to thank them in front of the public that they try to do a good job. There are a few, you cannot have everything good. There are a few, but when they do a bad job, we also do something about it. So I can assure you that is not going to be a problem, because that's why we are there as management. We are going to continuously address that one. I want to thank the board of National Water. We have had several boards. We now have a board with a new mandate, and I am happy that we now have a board that has successfully taken over from the previous board in terms of oversight and in terms of strategizing for the corporation. I want us to give them a very big hand clap for having fitted in very well, because we had the previous board which was very, very good. And normally when you get a new board, you worry whether the new board will perform like the previous board. I am afraid this board might even perform better than the previous board. Now, can I take this singular honor to invite the chairman of the board to come and give his remarks, and eventually also be ushered into launching this program, Impact. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
I want to assure you that every inch of this platform is sanitized. So your chairman is safe. And all of you are safe in this boardroom. I first of all want to thank the Creator. I want to thank the Creator. Otherwise, how should we have been here with all these good-looking, water-consuming Ugandans? And I want to thank the Ugandans who actually consume our product, including you who are here. Can I ask you to clap for yourself and those beyond? And more so, our moderator, who assured us that he will never shy away from using our water and even paying for it. So, thank you very much. The resident city commissioner, RCC of Kampala, the LC5 chairman, Wachiso and Mukono districts, the deputy resident city commissioners, the mayors of the various divisions and municipalities, as well as town councils, representatives of Operation Wealth Creation, the National Water Board members, my dear members, I salute you for the hours that you dedicate. The management and staff of National Water, of which we are very proud. Thank you, management, for what you are doing. And we are encouraged as the new board, and we shall continue working together with you to make achievements just like you have demonstrated today. Distinguished guests present in your various capacities, protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to officiate at the launch of the National Water and Sewage Corporation Short-Term Performance Improvement Program, codenamed IMPACT. Innovative Management Performance Acceleration for Customer Trust, whose main objective is to improve service reliability to our customers. This program is in line with the National Water and Sewage Corporation Corporate Plan of 2018 to 2021, currently under implementation and in the closing hours of its operating period. Key among the focus areas in the corporate plan is customer and stakeholder delight. I am happy to note that the IMPACT program, among others, focuses on A, revenue growth, cost optimization towards improving break-even status of the areas, improving collection ratio, improving non-revenue water performance. Not I said water. I'm trying to mimic the moderator. E, better customer service. This will go a long way in delivering the commitments that the corporation made to her esteemed customers. I wish once again to thank management for such a holistic initiative. It is impressive to note that the IMPACT program is to be implemented through area-specific high-impact performance improvement plans that cover the remaining period of the financial year 2020-2021. I appreciate the area break-even drive that is critical to achieve overall sustainability of the corporation. I want to thank the National Water and Sewage Corporation to have an internal aid program to those areas which are still new. Our mandate is to provide water to all Ugandans, so the task is still ongoing. It is therefore of paramount importance that each area makes great strides towards improving their financial efficiency. This, in tandem, will contribute to the achievement of financial growth and sustainability, which is also a key area of focus in National Water Strategy Plan. The National Water and Sewage Corporation Board commits to embrace and support such programs aimed at driving performance and improving the quality service delivery to our dear customers. I am also happy to note that the primary implementers of this program, the various National Water and Sewage Corporation operational areas, have been fully involved. This is an assurance to the stakeholders that this program will be efficiently and effectively implemented to achieve the intended objective. I call upon management to take keen interest in tracking the implementation through close monitoring and evaluation of the program performance indicators and targets. This will go a long way in ensuring value for all committed resources. I would like to thank the government of Uganda, development partners, and our well-cherished customers for supporting the corporation in various ways in her efforts to deliver reliable water, this time water, and sewage services. I thank my fellow board members. I'm looking at them once again. I'm glad the moderator introduced them. They all stood up for observation. Not enough time to allow each and everyone to come to say a word, but next time when we draw a longer program. Management and staff of National Water for ensuring that the corporation remains in continuous performance improvement path. This is the only way we can consistently build confidence and fortify our relationship with the customers. Finally, I wish to thank all our present and those online for participating in this launch. On behalf of the National Water and Sewage Corporation Board of Directors, I pledge our continued support and shall always guide management on all performance improvement programs aimed at attaining the National Water and Sewage Corporation vision of being the leading customer service-oriented utility in the world. This is matching what our moderator said. We don't want to limit ourselves here to Kampala or Uganda territory, East Africa, East and Central, no, but beyond the bounds of this world. Once again, before I walk away, I want to congratulate the new RCC, whom I'm meeting for the first time here, for assuming the new position, and wish you well in bringing government closer to the National Water and Sewage Corporation in the realization of its goals and requirements. I want to thank you all for listening to me. I want to thank my management members who are out here very ably answering questions and also briefing us with the internal operation. And as you can see how good looking they were. So when you work with National Water and Sewage Corporation for 30 years and beyond, and you remain looking so young, I leave the last words to the moderator. He has a better choice. Moderator, thank you for your job well done. Thank you. God bless you all. Ladies and gentlemen, can I, in your honor, launch this program And we all remain to see the fruits of it. And you'll be the better judges. And those who are listening to us and the media beyond this room. Thank you very much, media, for being with us and helping us reach the Ugandans who benefit from our services. God bless you all.
Dr. Chigundu has COVID, it won't catch me. But even if you get it from Engineer Dr. Badru Chigundu, it's not a bad type. It's the type that you can manage. And as he speaks, you can tell that he studied and taught in the United States. And maybe one day, when I grow up, I'll also be a board member. One day when I grow up. Now let's get into the launch proper. So we'll take the lights off and you will see how we launch things here. And our launch is going to be very COVID sensitive. So there will be persons who will be coming here who will be sanitized, and then we'll get into the launch. So amaso kurutimbe, as they say in Spanish, as we go through the process of the launch. You want to look on the other side of the screen. Get sucked in. So we are talking innovative management and performance acceleration for customer trust, and would like to call the GM Kampala engineer Lutaya Mahmood to begin off with the process of signing the launch. He loves bald-headed people, so he likes to mimic them, but officially he's not yet in the club. Then we'll call the GM Mbale, Agnes Akech, also to come and sign. Well, it's also a signature, isn't it? I don't know whether those are high initials or something, but that's all right. We'll also get a union representative, and that is Mr. Sam Masaba, to sign away performance. You're lucky I'm not signing, because when I sign, there's the halfway I turn things around. It happens when you don't sign many important things. You must have started school with Arabic. Deputy MD, Technical Services, Engineer Mayo, will also sign on acceleration. Lady Tumuheri, the lady of the money, will come and sign our way customer. Deputy MD, Management Services, that's what I'm looking for. Lady Katete will come and also sign trust. She does trust her suits, doesn't she? It's one of the few occasions where you see the signature of the MD. So, Engineer Dr. Mgisha, you want to come and sign away? So when you get a job as MD, you change your sign. You don't sign like a wheelbarrow pusher. Now we want to know the difference between an MD and a board chair, at least as far as signatures are concerned. Here is the time. So, for those of you watching at home, I can only say one thing: Mutwala wana musomero. And it's quite some process this, and I'm sure and certain that a process has begun, and a very important process that is going to get us to the place where we not only have water for all, but clean water for all being delivered in an efficient manner. And our contribution, those of you watching at home, is to make sure that we don't wait for the bill to pay. Just put the money there. For as long as you are alive, that water will be consumed. If you are gone, God forbid, your children will continue consuming. We want to be supporting our own organizations, especially when they are doing well, because as already has been said, that the tariff is not where it ought to be. Now, that means that we already should pay what we ought to pay, even before it is taken up. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to be going to the place where I'm now going to double what I have been paying, so that whatever the bill is, me, I don't care. I will just be paying, and then we'll deal with that, because I want to be leading by example. So that being said, I'd like to invite Lady Helen to come and give us the benediction. Here she is. She's prepared her prayer, and among other things, pray for our customers. And you'll also want to tell us how long you have been here.
Just remove. Have you sanitized? think I need to remove. Our chairman of the board, the board members present, our dear MD and the DMDs present, our general managers from different areas, including Kampala Water, our senior managers, our stakeholders, all other managers, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. My name is Helen, one of the branch managers of Kampala Water. I manage the biggest branch in Kampala Water. And my job here is very simple, to give the vote of thanks. You ask how long I've been in National Water. I've been in National Water for the last 24 years. To our dear chairman of the board, Dr. Engineer Chigundu, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for sparing your valuable time to come and officiate this program, this very wonderful program that we want to see ourselves on top of the world. Thank you so much for coming, and I want to thank you for always giving us the strategic guidance that has made our work very simple. In a special way, I want to thank our dear MD, Dr. Engineer Silva Mugisha, that has always been there for us. We actually say is God-given to National Water, for the great work he has been doing for us. We have been moving forward from the beginning when we started up to this time. He has been there with us for a very long time, over 30 years. And he has guided us very well, and we have been able to perform to the expectation. Thank you so much for leading us. And on a special way, I want to thank the stakeholders. You know, in Kampala, things are not very easy, but these people, the RCC, the deputy RCC, the divisional mayors, you have always been there for us, serving the nation. Whenever we feel challenged, we always come to you, and you're always there for us. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time to come and work with us today to launch this very important program that is going to see National Water on top of the world. Thank you so much. And also in a special way, I want to thank all the general manager of Kampala Water that has made this day a very wonderful day, including the organizers of this program. And I'm here to, on behalf of the management and staff of National Water, to plead to our board that this program you see here has been launched. In Kampala Water, we have already taken off. And I want to say this is going to be very successful. We are always leading as Kampala Water, and areas follows. So as I speak now, all other branch managers are in the field. I'm the only one here with one of my colleagues, Annette, who gave the prayers. So I'm very optimistic that this program you're seeing being launched today is going to be very, very successful. And on behalf of the staff and the management, this is what we have to say. This is going to work out. And as Kampala Water, we are going to lead, and others follows. Thank you so much for listening. Have a blessed day, and be blessed again. Thank you. Thank you. Let's have the closing prayers. Maybe we stand up to honor God. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this wonderful day that was already put into your hands, Lord. All that started with you will end with you, oh Father. Thank you for being there for us, for making this day a very great day. And we pray that, Father, as we move out to implement this to serve the nations, let it be done according to your will. Give us journey mercies as we leave this place to wherever we are going, and continue giving us the knowledge and wisdom that come from above. Thank you, Lord, for listening to our prayers. Amen.
So on behalf of everybody here, on behalf of persons that have been in the controls, on behalf of those that have done the technical work, on behalf of the organizing committee, and on behalf of everybody, and on behalf of my brain, I'd like to return those of you on television back to the main studios, both at UBC and at NBS, handing you over to Julius Buchana as we get back to regular programming. And on behalf of myself, I hand myself over to the journey of developing myself. And I'd like also to remind those of you here to be concentrated on the journey of making yourself better than you are today. It is actually very possible for you to improve yourself. If you don't know how to do that, I can certainly help you. One of the ways of improving yourself is having lunch. So we are going to have an early lunch, and I would like to advise you that here at National Water and Sewage Corporation, we do not believe in wastage. That's why we serve buffet, meaning that consume only the things you haven't eaten in a long time. It would be embarrassing for you to serve yourself and you leave food on your plate. We will make that and you breaking news. Good afternoon.